just joined us on the System After Dark, this is a homegrown number courtesy of E3 and Cracker. Bulla, how's it going? I'm D, your host on the System After Dark, right here on Today FM. Today's hit music. You can catch me weeknights at 7 p.m. That's from Monday to Friday, only on the home of Today's hit music. And don't forget, that's D with you every weeknight on the System After Dark. Even got that homebrew flowing.
Good evening, this is FBC News. I'm Jackie Spade. In this bulletin, DPP applies for bail to be revoked in sedition case. Fiji and New Zealand government officials to meet over export ban tomorrow. And bus extensively damaged in fire, fortunately no passengers on board. The Director of Public Prosecution's Office has filed an application to revoke the bail of 3 men charged with sedition offences yesterday. Timothy Nangata, Pita Dhamaimuala Vakatawa, and Saimoni Nadolawa are charged with sedition and inciting communal antagonism under the Crimes Decree 2009. However, the case has taken another interesting twist, with 13 other men in custody tonight in relation to the same investigation. Edwin Nant has more from our West Office.
Jackie, the court case was called in the Lautoka High Court this afternoon. The state is arguing that bail be revoked to the 3 men in the interest of national security. Today, for the first time, more light has been shed on the alleged use of firearms, as FBC News reported yesterday. Defence lawyer Aman Singh mentioned the alleged use of M16 weapons, to which the DPP lawyer replied that there is a police witness who will give evidence that the 3 accused were allegedly seen training with the firearms. The court was also told that at least 13 other people are also detained in the Western Division in relation to the same sedition-related investigation. The possible use of firearms is also in question regarding these 13 men. Defence lawyer Aman Singh argued that no evidence has been produced in relation to the said firearms, nor any evidence to warrant the revocation of bail. He also argued that he be given time to prepare a response and suggested that because of the urgent nature of the application today, his clients, 2 of whom live in Tavwa, did not have time to make it to court today.
Our submissions are quite clear that the bail was granted because the police had not produced all the evidence before the court. And it was on legal arguments that the courts had granted bail yesterday.
The full hearing on the application for revocation of bail will be heard in the Lautoka High Court tomorrow. Jackie.
Thanks for that update, Edwin. New Zealand's Ministry of Primary Industries has acknowledged that its broad suspension of agricultural imports from Fiji is inappropriate. They have requested to meet with the Fijian officials to resolve the recent suspension of trade in 4 affected commodities. Akusita Tale has more.
New Zealand's Ministry of Primary Industries says it made an error in their recent suspension of the import of eggplant, mangoes, breadfruit and papaya from Fiji. An official from New Zealand will arrive in the country tonight. He will meet with the delegation led by Minister for Public Enterprises Ayasa Yetkayum tomorrow morning. Fiji is expected to make a formal request to lift the suspension of the 4 commodities.
If a consignment of goods or produce is sent across and you think that it has not necessarily met with the standards, then you reject it, and generally reject it, and by way of reshipping it to the port of destination, or you destroy it. In this particular case, the entire segment has been suspended, which is obviously quite out of the ordinary.
New Zealand has agreed there have been no documented cases of a fruit fly outbreak caused by the Fijian products.
We obviously are focused to ensuring that we try and get this thing sorted out as soon as possible. We obviously are also looking at various issues. For example, Nature's Way, the cooperative that actually does the heating and to meet the standards set by New Zealand.
Meanwhile, the Biosecurity Authority of Fiji has been requested to audit the Nature's Way cooperative facility to see it meets all requirements under the bilateral quarantine agreement. and international standards.
Obviously, if there are any lapses on the part of Fiji through the Nature's Way, kiln, heating and drying, then we need to be able to ensure that that does not happen in the Nature's Way facility.
5 consignments were accepted by New Zealand MPI on August 5th, despite the suspension coming into effect 3 days earlier. Ako si Tatale, FBC News.
A Fiji Revenue and Customs Authority officer has been charged by the Fiji Independent Commission Against Corruption for 2 counts of receiving a bribe. FICAC has alleged that Michaeli Vuki received a total of $2,000 from a businessman in Singatoka on 2 separate occasions between June this year and last Saturday. He was granted bail for a bail bond sum of $1,000 with strict bail conditions. Vuki, who was an auditor with the VAT review team, will reappear at the Singatoka Magistrates Court on the 29th of September for plea. Drug crimes and tax evasion continue to top the list as major concerns in the latest report detailing the National Risk Assessment on Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing. The report was launched by the Fiji Financial Intelligence Unit in Suva today. Matthew Mboletamana has more.
Between 2010 and 2014, an estimated $5.6 million worth of cannabis was seized in local raids. In 2014, some $9 million worth of illicit drugs, namely cocaine, fetching well over $6 million, and methamphetamine with $2 million was seized in multi-agency operations at ports of entry.
As a result of drug crimes and tax evasion were the most high in Fiji, and therefore they were treated as high crime area, crime types in Fiji, or high criminal activities in Fiji.
Buck says funds generated from drug trafficking can be laundered in our financial systems and have the potential to open opportunities for money laundering and financing of terrorism in the country.
We went out to the key stakeholders that included the private sector institutions, commercial banks, foreign exchange dealers. We went to the border control agencies.
Buck says the assessment is now a living document that can be revisited and reviewed as Fiji raises the banner in the fight against money laundering and financing terrorism.
Is the mutual evaluation of our measures by the Asia Pacific Group on money laundering in October. So that is the next big exercise that will look at all the aspects of Fiji's anti-money laundering framework.
For the FFIU and its stakeholders, the report stands to solidify the work it is carrying out in stringently guarding our borders from the circulation of illicit wealth in our financial systems. Matthew Mboletamana, FBC News.
A Pacific Transport Limited bus was damaged in a fire at Tawakumbu, Lautoka at around midday. The bus was in a heavily populated area of Tawakumbu and was even parked close to a home while on fire. Luckily, the blaze didn't spread onto the property. Police and NFA officials are trying to determine the cause of fire. In the news ahead, villagers learn pastry and baking skills for new bakery in Naitasiri.
FM nambundu en sirri na ngona nimden remanda ke central rental sapo ke de rusuna ko vitre minichi me va na koloko ni sabula
Oya wa wati soni dalai.
gonga e mosdon
Nama kikirau mena tolu kina bitu. Ena via kadi moliti kina porombuka.
goria na lali ne kami bula FM nambundu en sirri
The Environment Ministry is introducing a new program in 2 parts in an attempt to curb the growing litter problem in the country. The ministry is cracking down on litter offenders after Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama expressed his disgust at the high levels of environmental pollution. Akusita Tale reports.
The new program introduced today has 2 phases to encourage the public not to litter and punish offenders. In the first phase, people will be asked to send photographs and videos of those who are littering.
These photographs and videos will be used to prosecute offenders. As an incentive for posting these photographs and videos, those citizens who wish to can apply for and be eligible for a percentage of the fines as a cash reward.
A special unit is expected to be set up in the ministry by Monday to monitor the footage and photos. The second phase will include using the photos in a name and shame campaign in the media, including radio, television, and newspapers.
All those littering here and there, your photo will be there. Let the people of this nation see you.
About a fortnight ago, Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama expressed his disgust at the increasing rate of environmental pollution.
We want to have a nice, clear environment. We can't say to the world, Fiji is where happiness finds you, only for them to come here and see the sad state of rubbish alongside some of our roads and beaches.
The ministry hopes the two programs will change the mindset of individuals and help make Fiji a litter-free country, at the same time turn the tide on what has been described as a national embarrassment. Akusita Talei, FBC News.
Rheumatic heart disease is costing Fiji around $19 million annually through its impact from loss of productivity, hospitalization and surgical interventions. The Minister for Health, Chone Osumate, made this comment at the launch of Phase 2 of the RHD Prevention and Control Program, launched last night at Novotel Lamy. Ellen Stolz reports.
Usumate says recent research shows that RHD is a common cause of death for men aged in their 30s and 40s, with the death rate also high for teenagers. However, the focus last night was helping children with RHD in the country.
Fiji and surrounding Pacific countries have the highest prevalence of RHD globally. That's not a record I think we should be proud of. Hopefully this program is going to do something about it, with an estimated 1% of children and young people affected.
Executive Director for Cure Kids New Zealand, Vicky Lee, feels that the RHD program will strengthen the vision Fiji already has to help children.
We look forward to many more partnerships with you as we work together. Rest assured, Cure Kids will be pleased to do that and help you where we can to reach your strategic goals in children's health here in Fiji.
RHD patient advocate Karakini Uluilakemba was also present at the event with her son and shared her experience.
We have come to accept and understand the limitation within our health system during our times of hardship. We have come to understand late or misdiagnosis is the byproduct of such limitations in the dissemination of information and education on rheumatic heart disease.
The newly funded initiative with Cure Kids New Zealand and the Ministry of Health is starting a program to, amongst other things, provide graduate and undergraduate education in identifying rheumatic heart disease. Ellen Stolz, FBC News.
The Methodist Church will vote on a new constitution at the annual General Conference in Suva next week. Church President Reverend Tevita Nwandra says the draft constitution has been prepared since last year. Savara Tambua has more.
The Constitution, regulations and policies of the Methodist Church were approved for review in 2013. Church President Reverend Tevita Nwandra says the draft revised the Constitution and regulations, policies documents have been circulated to the 56 divisions for discussions and comments.
The Constitution is now in place to be voted for during conference. And alongside the Constitution, there is also the regulations. The regulations, we have not really finished with the regulation. We have just completed 3.
Reverend Nwandra says despite a ban on the choir competition, many choir groups registered to participate.
They were saying that it may be more than 400 or so, so they are still coming. It will not be a competition as before, but it will be just singing to praise God.
Thousands of delegates are expected to attend the annual conference in Suva from next week. Sabira Tabua, FBC News.
A new bakery will be opened soon to cater for 14 villages and settlements in the lower Naitasiri region. Run by Lovia Cooperative of Musuisavu village, the new bakery is expected to bring much needed income to raise the standard of living for villagers. Eleanor Tarangai View reports.
The new bakery is located before Nangali village along the Naita Siri Road, a place easily accessible for villagers returning from Suva.
So we have located bakery in such a location that people who are going to other villages, they can buy fresh breads from here while going back to the village.
Lovia Cooperative has 80 members, all of them villagers of Ngusui Sabo. They contributed $20,000 cash towards the project, as well as labor and the land which the bakery currently sits on. Most of the villagers have undergone bakery and pastry skills training.
3 to 5 people will be employed full-time on 2 shifts. One shift will be 8-hour shift. So in terms of income generating project, it gives an opportunity for local people to be employed.
Government contributed $90,270 towards the construction of the bakery. Once it is up and running, it is expected to supply fresh bread to the nearby schools and villages.
We are far from the town centers, and this development has been brought closer. Especially for us, the villagers, we are really grateful.
Over 90% of the work is complete. Construction of the septic tank is currently underway, and once completed, the bakery is expected to start operation in the second week of September. Eleanor Turangai, FBC News.
Sports now, and here's Jamie with the latest.
Nagadaki, and good evening. Coming up in sports, Fiji Pearls now fighting for 9th position at the Netball World Cup, and John McKee faces daunting task of reducing his squad to 31 before the Rugby World Cup. We'll have this and more after the break.
छू 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 हे हे नमस्ते फीजी, आपके हर एक प्रॉब्लम की दवा लेकर मैं आ गई हूँ 9 से 12 बजे तक आपकी सहेली रेनू। छू 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 40 में 20 का दिखना है। मैं हूँ ना आपके साथ में मिर्ची एफएम पर 9 से 12 बजे तक मंडे टू फ्राइडे। मिर्ची इट्स हॉट।
The Fiji Pearls have won its first match in the Tier 2 competition of the World Netball Championships currently underway in Australia. Meanwhile, the national side ended its first stage of pool matches, beating Zambia 59-51 yesterday. The Pearls' next match is against Barbados at 2:20 p.m. tomorrow. Vodafone Flying Fijians coach John McKee believes that he has his work cut out for him in selecting the best 31 players to take to the Rugby World Cup next month. 38 players march into camp tomorrow, all hoping to be part of the final squad to the tournament in England. Tsalendau Dakadaka has more.
Nemani Nandolo is set to rejoin the Flying Fijian squad tomorrow as they march into camp in Suva. The Crusaders star winger, together with England-based flanker Netani Talei and 4 local players, are the new addition to the team that lifted the Pacific Nations Cup title.
Yeah, he's back in the country. Netani Talei will be joining the squad to have a good look at him and possibly including him in for the Rugby World Cup. He arrives back in Fiji tomorrow.
Veteran fly half Serema Mbai and Jerry Yanonutawa will miss the camp as they are still on standby for World Cup selection. McKee says he has more than enough on his plate to pick the right players in the final squad.
I think the midfield probably pretty much looked after itself from the PNC. Probably the questions are answered during the PNC, but certainly outside backs, around the front row as well. A lot of decisions still to be made.
The extended squad marches into camp tomorrow in Suva, and McKee expects to name his final World Cup squad as early as next week. Tsalendo Dakadaka, FBC Sports.
The Jacks Nandi rugby team will be dedicating this week's semi-final match against Namosi to the late Ndonu Rokotakala, who served as an assistant secretary to Nandi Rugby Union. Rokotakala passed away after a horrific car accident in Rakiraki last week. Josephine Avula reports.
Having served the Nandi Rugby Union for 3 years, the death of Ndonu Rokotakala has left his colleagues and family members in shock.
Well, when I heard it, I thought that he was in the hospital. But later on, I received another call saying that he died on the spot. And it was I was in a state of shock. I couldn't believe it.
Tuila Kamba says the death of Roko Takala is a great loss to the team, and they will make sure they secure a spot in the cup final in his remembrance.
We have decided to dedicate this game on Saturday in the semi-final to Ndonu and his family, because it's through his hard work that the team has come through.
He adds the players are determined to perform to their very best and fulfill the aim that Ndonu has set for the team.
Well, it's quite a while now that Nandi haven't tasted victory. I think the last time was in 2008, and now we can feel the air of excitement in Nandi, which is a good sign.
Nandi will host Namosi at 3 p.m. at Prince Charles Park, while Nandronga will take on Suva in the other semi-final at Lawanga Park this Saturday. Josephine Vula, FBC Sports.
Rewa football executives will be meeting with the Nausori Town Council to discuss celebrations for winning the Ink Mobile Battle of the Giants. Rewa defeated Mba 2-0 in the final on Sunday in Nausori to successfully defend the BOG title. Rewa football president Nazil Bak says they will be meeting all stakeholders before releasing details of the celebrations. Yaya Toure inspired Manchester City to a dominant 3-0 victory at West Brom in the English Premier League football competition this morning. The win sees City on top of the points table after the first round of matches. That was your sports for this evening. It's back to Jackie now with business.
Acting Army Commander Commodore Viliame Naupoto is the new Deputy Chairperson of Fijian Holdings Limited. Naupoto is one of 3 new members appointed to the board by the Prime Minister and Minister for Itaukei Affairs, Vorengem Bainimarama. The other 2 members are Ratuaisea Waka Vosailangi of Nandronga and National Fire Authority Chief Executive John O'Connor. Chairperson Yowane Naiveli says the new directors will further diversify the expertise and wide-ranging experience that their directors already bring to the FHL group. It was a sunny, clear day across the nation today, a welcome break from the cloud and showers of the past few weeks. A strong flow of cool air from the south is keeping our skies clear and dropping temperatures into the teens at night. Today's most centers reached a high of 29, but it was a little cooler in the east with Savu 27, Suva at 20, hitting 26. Once again, we can expect chilly temperatures tonight. Tomorrow it looks like we can expect a day much like today, generally clear and sunny in most centers with temperatures in the high 20s. The outlook for Thursday looks like a continuation of the fine weather with just a chance of showers over eastern parts of the main islands. And the main points again. The Director of Public Prosecution's Office has filed an application to revoke the bail of 3 men charged with sedition offences yesterday. New Zealand's Ministry of Primary Industries has acknowledged that its broad suspension of agricultural imports from Fiji is inappropriate, and it will meet Fijian authorities to resolve an impasse. And a Fiji Revenue and Customs Authority officer has been charged by the Fiji Independent Commission Against Corruption for 2 counts of receiving a bribe. Now to our poll segment. This week we're asking, do you think Fiji underestimated its pool opponents at the Netball World Cup? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. You've been watching FBC News. I'm Jackie Spade. Good night.